Bet you won't finish this video.
Pussy.
Do it, bitch.
Alright guys, so before we start this video, we quickly wanted to let you know that we just started a Facebook page. It's called the Average Pro Community, so check the link down below, and yeah.
So a big thing we've ran into lately is in the first month you see tons of progress. You're dropping weight like crazy, you're building muscle, your lifts are going great, but then you die off. You hit that plateau. We kind of mentioned that a little bit in the last video. The biggest thing is to keep pushing through that. You just gotta bust through your ceilings.
Bust through ceilings. But the thing we put into account is, we're not seeing as much progress on the scale, but that's not the main form of measurement. You know, you gotta put into account, like, are you happy? Are you feeling good about yourself? Are, like, your measurements getting smaller? How are your lifts doing? Like, things like that is what you kind of have to put into account.
One of my buddies, Riley, that's actually on our diet with us, he was texting the other day telling me, like, yeah, I'm feeling so much more energy, I'm feeling a lot happier, and there's things like that that are important too. Like, do you feel better about yourself? Because I know, like, me personally, like, ever since I've started going to the gym, I'm just a lot happier. Like, I feel better about myself. Like, even if I'm not getting swole, you know, like, I just feel more confident.
He clearly looks better.
I mean, yeah, obviously. But, you know, it's just like, it's just the things that you can't really measure, like your happiness, your confidence. Like, it's just, it's super important to take that into account too as part of your progress.
And a big thing I realize that a lot of you are probably getting caught up in, I know personally I got caught up in it, you start to look at other people, you see how big and how sexy they are, and you're like, how am I ever going to get to that point? But you really got to put into account, you've been doing this for a month. You're already looking amazing, but they've been doing this for about 5 years. So at some point they were at that same exact spot where they were looking at someone else. Like, they went through the same struggle, but they just endured to the end, and that's how they look so good now. I know I've been getting frustrated when I go to the gym because, like, there will be days where I'm struggling on my lifts, and then I'll see Connor progressing every week. And, you know, you really can't think like that.
Just focus on yourself, basically. Just remember that you're better than the old you. The old you'd be sitting on the couch right now at home doing nothing while you're out of the gym. You know, you're better than you were yesterday. And that's the important thing. Just build every single day, baby steps. You know, fitness is a marathon. Rome wasn't built today, neither are these Greek god bodies, you know. Every marathon starts with a single step.
You know, and maybe you feel like you're not progressing like you were, but you were still progressing. Like, just think, if you were back to, like, your old diet, your old ways, like, you'd be taking steps backwards. And, you know, maybe you're not going as fast as you'd like to be, but you're still taking those little baby steps forward every single day. You were better today than you were yesterday, and that's the main thing to look at. And that's why you guys should be so happy with yourselves. You're hitting your diet, you're going to the gym. That's why you should be happy. You're better today than you were yesterday.
Like Skylar was saying earlier, those guys that have been doing it for years, like you said, they're in that spot that you were at. But imagine looking back 2-3 years from now, like when you're at that, you're gonna be so happy that you just kept going, because that's probably when it's hardest. You know, like when you're not, like, seeing the physical progress, you're not seeing the scale drop, you're not seeing your muscles get huge overnight. That's probably when it's the hardest, because you're doing all this work for a little reward, you know? Like, the only things that you're seeing are those unmeasurables, like I was saying, like the happiness, your confidence, that kind of stuff. Like, it's really hard to keep pushing through that, but I promise if you bust through that ceiling, you're gonna thank yourself in 2 years.
Another thing to add, that dude that started 5 years ago that's looking so good, he's probably thinking back and like, man, I'm so glad that I just picked that day that I was gonna start and I just stuck to it. You're gonna be so happy that you picked today to be the day that you are improving, because if you just stop, lose all motivation, just completely quit, go back to where you were, you're going to find yourself a year from now trying to start over again and be like, man, if I kept pushing through this, I'd be in such good shape, but I didn't, and now I'm starting over again.
I feel like we've all been there. Like, last spring break, I know that I was trying to get in shape for it, you know, like everybody does. It's, you know, it's January 1st, everybody wants to get healthier and start a new year, new me, right? But, like, after, you know, I had been working out probably about the same time last year, you know, and I was like, January 1st hit, and I was like, oh crap, like, imagine if I had kept working out, if I had been going to the gym, so I'd be 4 months ahead of where I'm at right now, and then spring break rolls around, I'm still this fat ass. Like, I'm like, man, if I would have kept working out for those 4 months when I took that break and not waited till January to try and get that spring break bod, imagine where I'd be. It's a never-ending cycle, so you just gotta you have to bust through that, and don't lose the motivation.
I was the same way when it came to spring break. I knew girls were going to go. I want to look good. I want to have that beach bod going. And I was the same way. I tried to start going in January, and then I would work out for 2 days, and then I would lose it again. And then time kept going on and on and on. And next thing you know, we're like at the end of February, and I'm looking up on Google how to lose 30 pounds in 10 days, but it just doesn't work like that.
And a big outside influence too can be your friends, like positive and negative. Like I feel like we definitely motivate each other, which is why we've also tried to start the community, bringing it back to the whole thing we started off with. You know, if you've got this community of people lifting you up, it's going to be like that much easier to stay with your goals. But if you just got friends asking you to go out to eat all the time, or you know, go have a bunch of drinks, you know, party on the weekends, it's going to be so hard to stick to your goals. I mean, all that stuff is okay. Like you can do it in moderation. I'm not saying it to be completely strict, you know, because it's, and I guess you compare it to like a drug, you know, like if you could completely swear off fast food for the rest of your life, like, and you're just super strict about it, like when you relapse, you're gonna be like, oh man, this tastes so good, I'm not gonna ever stop eating this fast food, you know. So I mean, obviously in moderation it's okay, but just be aware of what you're putting into your body. You know, like McDonald's, like it always sounds good. Like of course you're not gonna see this Big Mac and be like, oh, that looks disgusting. Like of course it sounds kind of good sometimes, but you also gotta kind of consider too, like, okay, there's 600 to 700 calories in the sandwich alone, not even including the fries or the soft drink I'd get with it. There's also maybe only 15-20 grams of protein in it. Like, just imagine how far that's going to set you back on your calories for that day. So it kind of just, like I said, just be aware of what you're putting into your body.
I mean, really, in this example, you're just setting yourself so far behind, because say you only got 15 grams of protein and you got 800 calories. Like, it's going to be very difficult for you to get your daily protein intake without going over your calories. Connor had a very good point that friends influence you a lot. They're like one of the biggest factors. If you have good influences or bad influences, either way, you don't want to let them down. So if you have bad influences, you know, they're going out to eat, you don't want to let them down. But in this scenario, me and Connor, he's trying to hit his fitness goals, I'm trying to hit mine. We're starting this channel, and you know, a big motivational factor is I just don't want to let him down.
Exactly. Like with this 30-day challenge, like I don't want to lose to Skylar because I'm not trying to pull that thing from the bowl of frick. But number two, like I'm doing it for you guys too. Like I don't want to, in that 30 days, and all my measurements are the same, I've not lost any weight, I'm not looking any better. Like, can you imagine how embarrassing that would be? And so that's kind of, I'm holding myself accountable with that.
How can we be the two guys behind a whole community of people trying to improve if we're not holding ourselves accountable and doing it ourselves? So with me and Connor, obviously, we're just two normal dudes. We're humans just like any of you. So we're going to make mistakes here and there. But the most important thing for us is that we're always mindful of what we take in. You know, like, every once in a while, we're going to go out and eat. We're going to have a good time. But we're always tracking the calories so we know where we're at. Like, that's the most important thing, is that you know what you're putting in. So say that I've been eating good all day and then I go out and eat. So now I'm sitting at about 3,000 calories and I'm like, okay, like I need to chill out. Like I'm already well over my calories. Whereas if you're not tracking your calories, you're just going to think back. You're going to make excuses for yourself and you're like, I didn't eat that much. And then you're just going to keep going, putting yourself farther and farther behind. And that's the main thing, just kind of holding back a little bit and keeping yourself in check so you don't lose everything you've been working so hard for.
So obviously staying motivated is easier said than done. You know, it's easy for us to stand here and, you know, preach from the pulpit and say, do this, you know, stay motivated, keep pushing. But really, you guys don't have the same motivators we do.
Not all of you guys have friends in your life that have similar interests or motivators or like a whole community, as we're starting a whole YouTube channel here.
I mean, it's just, there's so many outside influences that want to bring you down. It's just hard to stay motivated, which is why we've created that Facebook page, the Average Pro Community.
So this is a place you guys can go to post progress pictures. You can ask questions.
So make sure you guys go like that page. The link will be in the description below. Make sure you guys post in there too. Get it popping. We're all there for the same reason. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to post your progress pictures. If you even have like ideas for like workouts that you found have worked for you, you know, post them there. We're all one community, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe though for more videos. Make sure you guys stay tuned with us and, you know, follow along with our journey, and hopefully you guys will post your guys' journeys as well.